You don't need magic to disappear for a while, because Firestone tires were built for ticking off mile markers. Firestone Destination LE3 tires for 70,000 miles of exploring. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
So I'm going to ask you a question which I ask all my podcastees. It goes into a special episode at the end of the year. Yep. It's how do you work on the business instead of in the business?
Yeah, that's a profound and interesting question. And I would say that I set my own goals and expectations and don't let them get set for me. Because it can be not high enough as an expectation or a goal, or way too high, and you feel like you failed either way. So I think that each of us has to be kind of the masters of our own destiny. And whether it's a business plan, whether it's it's sales goals, whether whatever the metric is by which you set your success, you have to be in charge of it, and you have to take responsibility for it. If somebody else is doing it for you, you'll never own it. You'll never quite feel like it's yours. And so I think taking ownership of your goals, taking ownership of your expectations is the most important thing. And lastly, is to always be ready for an opportunity. Always be awake, ready, prepared for an opportunity. And I will tell you, 364 out of 365 days, that opportunity doesn't show itself. But the one day that you're not prepared and it comes, you will miss it dearly. So I try and always be ready, awake, aware, prepared. And however you do that, make sure that when that opportunity does roll along, you're ready to snatch it up.
Awesome. Great advice, my friend. How do you work on the business instead of in the business?
Well, how do we work on the business versus in the business? I'd say working in the business is what you do in your daily activity. Inventory level, sales, finance, factory schedules, hiring and firing, and doing all that. And that's really super important to creating the very best product that we can. And we work hard on that side. I'd say on the business, how we work on the business, being part of the Bridgestone family, I think working on the business is making sure that Bridgestone Tire in Bridgestone, Japan knows that we have value from a brand perspective, that we help the overall global brand initiative to do what we need to do and make sure that people know that Bridgestone's one of the best brands in the world, and then we make the best tires and the best golf balls, and we feel like we play a role in that.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know you sent me a dozen of these. I'm going to be using these the next time I get out.
All right, now you send me your hole-in-one certificate, and we'll get you a free dozen balls.
I hope so. In my dreams someday. How do you work on the business instead of in the business? Either one can answer.
I think that changes from year to year. But right now, the tech center is really what we are focused on as far as the future and how that's going to change our company and our employees. And honestly, we really look at it as even more far-reaching than that. We want to change the way people view our industry. We want to be the professionals, and so that's really our focus of the next at least 12 months, and we're very excited about it.
You should be. Bubba, your thoughts?
Expanding a little on what Kim had said, because we can go back here and look at we have 24 female employees that work for us now, which
wow.
In the entire industry. And Kim always says the future is female. So as we go, we're building for that. But what I do each year being a high school baseball coach is each year I have to figure out what we're good at, whether it's stealing bases, hitting home runs, fielding, defense, pitching. And so each year in this industry, as Pat always told me, you need to reinvent the wheel. And so that's something that every year for the culture part of it, we have to reinvent what we're going to do in 2024. And we're excited for 2024. So I try to get the culture right. And each year we're going to do something different. Retail was down a little bit this year, as you know, and then so next year retail will be up. So we just got to adapt, and we're really good at changing quickly, and we listen to our employees. They have a lot to say, and I think that that's really important.
So Pat, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you work on the business instead of in the business?
Well, I got to go back to what Paul Zerker always said. You grow by the people you meet and the books you read. And I think in order to get ahead, as I see the future, you've got to associate yourself with some very good people. And of course, try to read up on everything that's going on, because it's changing. And if you don't stay on top of it, it'll bury you.
Well, words from a very wise man. Thank you for sharing that. The question is, how do you work on the business instead of in the business?
I'm sure everybody's different. For me, I really like to be a very hands-on owner. My brother is the same way. So we are excited by work. So we look forward every day to come into work. Now, that doesn't mean that we're in our stores or in our warehouses or facilities every single day, but we will do whatever it takes. So, I mean, if Brian has to jump in a truck and deliver tires, that's what he does. If I need to go clean a store, I'll clean a store. But it's not every day for sure. But we definitely know what's going on in our business. We have a fantastic executive team that really gets our mission and our goals. And so we're able to execute a lot through them. But working on the business, for me, it's been being a part of peer groups, things like 20 groups. I'm a part of 3 different groups. I'm an MFA, a Mighty Franchisee Association director. So I am front and center of what is going on at the corporate level with our Mighty Auto Parts organization. And so I have firsthand knowledge of the changes that are coming down the pike, or being an instrument of change, making sure that we are constantly pushing the needle for improvements in that company. So for me, making sure that I'm very in touch with what's going on in the industry, learning from others. I mean, I'm part of several 20 groups, and man, they're just like the best in the business. I think you've interviewed several of them, Mark Pons, Chapel Hill Tire, or Beth Barron with Shaw Bills. Yeah. They challenge me all the time. I think they're exceptional people, and we want to be the best. We're competitive. So learning from others is really big, making sure that I stay up with industry publications, really staying in tune with what is going on in our industry. It helps me, I think, in all aspects of my business, really to work on the business instead of in the business.
Stacey, how do you work on the business instead of in the business?
Well, working on the business instead of working in the business is, our grandfather believed you could do both. But, what the third generation right now, what we focus on is we have our weekly meetings and we work on our business. We brought in a district manager that takes care of our day-to-day operations, that brings stuff to us so we can work on it and without working in it. And but the weekly meetings with our district manager working on our business is really helping us the last 10 to 15 years.
So Frankie, how do you work on the business instead of in the business?
Well, as I said earlier in the podcast, I think you can do both, maybe not simultaneously, but you obviously have to do both, work on and in. I would probably say somewhere around 10 or 12 years ago, we hired a general manager, district manager, to take care of our day-to-day operations in our stores. He's been one that's now almost 13 years. And he handles the day-to-day operations at our locations, has direct access with our service managers, our store managers, all of our service advisors, holds separate meetings with them finds out what is needed, what the customer experience needs to be improved on, what kind of technician training needs to be done. He brings a lot of that stuff back to us. We will, like I said, we'll have weekly meetings and discuss what, needs to be done as far as that. And, just kind of like, just basically plan, the year out or the next, 3 to 5 years, working in and on our business. I think it's important to do both. There's nothing more that upsets me as an absentee owner. Each one of the owners in our business, and there's 4 of them, are all super involved. I have 2 brothers and a first cousin, and I call my first cousin my third brother, so we're close, we're family. Each person has a vital part of our company, and we come together, bring our ideas to the table. We'll throw it on a whiteboard and we'll see what sticks, and if it doesn't work, hey, you'll never know until you try it. So that's kind of how we operate our weekly and monthly meetings.
Stacey, do you want to add anything else that you were thinking of, or?
Yeah, well, he added a lot to what I said. I mean, just, the weekly meetings, getting together, working on our business, talking about different things, talking about buying equipment. I mean, we think about a lot of things, and I tell you, 4 members in the 3rd generation, like, that each one of us have a vital part of our business. Like, we have two that are in charge of buying our inventory. We have another owner that's in charge of distribution on a daily basis, and then you have another owner that's in charge, which is myself. I mean, behind the scenes, the receivables, the payables, the payroll, and the financial part of the business. But being able to get together and all of us with a key part of running a successful corporation, and each one of us having a different job and bringing our ideas together and making it work.
How do you work on the business instead of in the business?
Yeah. Well, we do take strategic planning serious at VIP. We do have a 5-year strategic plan, and we involve every department in the company in that. And we take store managers, assistant managers, master technicians, installation techs, which is our tire and lube tech, general service technician. We take vendors involved. We have some of our suppliers involved, and we go through about a 4-month process where we talk about, where we see the industry, what's working for us, where do we need to put our resources. And it's amazing what has come out of that. We've done it now we do it every 3 years. We've done it 4 times now. And that's sort of our compass to look at where I need to spend my time. And, I, and many other leadership positions in the company, oversee different areas. We split it up between store operations, sales and marketing, finance, merchandising, replenishment, warehousing. And with all that, we come up with a good plan. And when you look back on it, we generally don't execute everything perfectly, but all the major elements, we've made a major improvement in. And we share that to every employee in the company, all the way down to the financial results of the company. So they know, they've seen our corporate P&L, and they see their store P&L every month. And they know what their budget is, and they're involved in the budget process. So the more they can understand how to read a P&L, but more importantly, the behaviors behind what affects the P&L is, what we think is important in being a leader.
How do you work on the business instead of in the business?
I think the best way to describe that is have good quality people that they can do the task, so you can work on growing the business, expanding the business. And I think that's the best way to do it, just have good quality people underneath you. And I have that with my 2 boys. They really do a great job.
You don't need magic to disappear for a while, because Firestone tires were built for ticking off mile markers. Firestone Destination LE3 tires for 70,000 miles of exploring. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.